Well, good corporate citizenship and reputation are considered the most important factors driving the integration of sustainability in a business. South Africa's companies still have some way to go in integrating sustainability into their strategy and daily operations. That's according to the PwC Resilient Companies report. And joining us for more detail on this is Jayne Mammatt. She's Associate Director of Sustainability and Integrated Reporting at PwC. Jayne, thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you for
this
inviting
afternoon.
me.
Well, right at the top of the show, Lindsay and I highlighted the fact that we've done a few of these interviews looking at just how sustainably aware JSE companies have become of sustainability issues, green issues, and we thought that we were doing pretty well. Looking at the results of this report, though, some would say perhaps not, because of the top 100 companies that were evaluated, only 20 have actually provided a complete response to this survey, and that actually then forming the basis of this report. How much do we read into that?
I think, this is the first year of the survey and the first time that we are focusing on beyond just looking at the reports in terms of what companies are putting out there, but actually trying to understand how they are embedding integrated thinking and into management into the business. So as a first year, the 20 responses is a good base, but we want to improve it going forward to get a better sense of what it really means.
Jayne, you say we live in a world in which sustainability can no longer be viewed as, in your words, a nice to have or a green issue managed by an isolated unit within a business. Businesses, of course, certain businesses will say to themselves, this is the last thing I need put on my desk when I've got a strike happening outside my window. Do you get that sort of attitude? Have there been a few barriers that have needed to be broken down?
I think there has been some barriers needed to be broken down and to continue to do so, because what we're saying is sustainability is about your long-term viability. It impacts an awful lot of business operational issues, a lot of business risks. And to sort of talk about other issues as being more important and not realising the interconnectivity of these sustainability issues onto those dynamics is a mistake. I mean, a lot of the strikes are put in a lot of the social category of sustainability in terms of perhaps employee conditions, local economic development. These are all sustainability issues, and it's basically saying these are not soft, nice to have issues on the side, that they are actually core to your business success.
With that being the case, Jayne, I mean, many would say that we're looking at businesses facing missed opportunities here. I mean, what's it going to take to actually trigger a shift in understanding, and what are some of the challenges to getting it right? Yeah,
I think some of the challenges are that a lot of the focus is on reporting, so we've got to move that focus into the actual doing, and I think over the years, that's been, the reporting is the end product, but it does drive and change behaviour. And I think we're already beginning to see that when you try to report and you're struggling, it's because you need to start embedding things in place. So I think that will need to change behaviour. I think, the positive side to it is that, over 2/3 of our companies that we got responses from have set board level sponsorship. They have built it into their strategic process, and they are monitoring the performance and results at a board or an exco level.
What effect does that really have?
What effect? That means that these things are impacting board decisions. They are taking all of these issues into account in their decisions, and they are starting to understand how these issues impact other issues, and there's this interplay between a lot of things. You can no longer look at things in silo, but they're all integrated and they're all interconnected.
What did you find were the key motivations for continuing the process? I like the fact what you've just said, that the board doesn't say, I think we'll give this to Robinson from accounts, but they're actually taking responsibility themselves. But what about the motivations?
Yeah, I think the top two motivations that came out on sustainability were the corporate citizenship and reputation, which is still sort of those seeing these things as the nice to haves, not core to business activities. Strategic risk was third on the list, which I think is promising. And I think if we'd asked that question 3 years ago, I would have expected that perhaps strategic risk would have been even lower down at that point. So I think it's a process, it's a journey, and there's some dynamics that need to sort of be put into place within businesses to move from this this is all about an annual report to actually this is about monthly operational issues and monthly monitoring of those operational issues.
What have cropped up as the major obstacles to embedding this in company strategy?
Yeah. Some of the key points that came up was where they felt change was needed from the external environment was it was more informed investors and analysts driving these questions into the business to get that turn at the top, which is quite interesting, seeing a lot of our investors are signed up to the CRISA Code on responsible investment and the UN Principles of Responsible Investment. So companies themselves are saying they still need more education and awareness at that level. A skilled and talented workforce came up very key as one of these sort of drivers of the change, and also the informed customer and consumer making decisions on these issues and the way companies behave. So those were perhaps the three top areas that were felt to needed sort of further improvement to help drive change within business.
Mm-hmm.
Jayne, what about companies that haven't actually performed well? You said that we've got a long way to go. Is there any particular sector of the economy or any sector of the JSE that is a culprit, or is it on a case-by-case basis?
It's very much on a case-by-case basis. Our responses were across a broad range of the industries, so you couldn't pick up any specific trends. So it is very much on a case-by-case basis. Of all of the responses we received, 19 of them are actually on the SRI index, which in one respect is very promising because it meant that they were willing and able to respond to these questions and saw the importance of responding. But then also when you see some of the gaps in place and the embedding of the real data integrity that we've seen come through this, then perhaps that's also a concern.
You highlighted that one of the challenges is a skilled and talented workforce. How do we actually deal with a problem like that?
I mean, that goes to the roots of our education system from.
Because where does this upskilling need to happen? You know, what kind of development should we be putting in play or fostering?
I think there's a range of skills, and you know, there's new opportunities, new services. The concept of the green economy is out there, and that requires fundamental different skills coming into our workforce. So it does have to start at our basic education level through school into universities, that we have actually got more and more people that have a range of skills that can fit into the economy.
Jayne, just finally, it says here, your conclusion goes as follows, and I'll read it to you. It says, companies have done much work in laying the foundations of integration, but even in the most advanced organizations, you say, there is still more to be done in embedding integrated thinking into the DNA of the businesses. We have covered that, but on the other hand, I suppose organizations like PwC have also got to be part of the process. This is the first report, the initial report, the inaugural report, and presumably next year you will do things slightly differently and almost do a little bit of subtle lobbying to those companies that haven't stepped up to the plate, as we said before.
I think so. I think we want to sort of improve the process in terms of not just the questions and the topics covered, but our response rate and how we can use it to help companies move forward and start embedding into their businesses.